Hello, State of the Map, Bangladesh. Hi, I'm Chad. I'm a geographer. I'm currently working on the maps team at Meta, but I'm a longtime contributor to OpenStreetMap. I'm based in Virginia, just outside of DC. I've been very active in the OSM community, co-founder of Youth Mappers. I'm running a pedestrian working group in the US, and I'm also former membership chair of HOT OSM. And when Sawan reached out to me to talk about my experience with OpenStreetMap and the Bangladesh community, it brought me back to one of the earliest projects that I worked on. It was actually 10 years ago in November. I had just returned from Pune in Bangladesh. I was back home for a week, and then I went to New York City for this International Conference of Crisis Mappers to talk about this new approach we had to building data at USAID using OpenStreetMap. And at that time, the open mapping community was taking off. Many folks were beginning to see how valuable the data was. HOT was recently founded. The World Bank was investing in these open data hubs all over the world. Department of State launched their MapGive initiative. Missing Maps campaign began, and Youth Mappers started. This was all within a couple years. And in addition to all these international focused organizations, big tech and other private sector were beginning to see the value in OpenStreetMap, and they were making big investments in it. But in addition, despite of all this, the world was still lacking good data in OpenStreetMap for lots and lots of areas. And this is where my role at USAID GeoCenter, I was actively partnering with different organizations, defining their data needs, creating it in OpenStreetMap. Thank you, Carrie Stokes, who's the GeoCenter director, for believing in me when we were doing some of those early projects and kind of testing things out with students at George Washington University. It was great. We called these Mapping for Resilience projects, and we ran them all over the world. We were earthquake preparedness in Nepal, disaster response in the Philippines, malaria spraying campaigns all over East Africa. And this work began to gain traction. I got connected with more people throughout USAID. At one point, I was put in touch with their ag experts who were based in Dhaka, and they wanted better data for measuring the impact of their work. And they were interested in mapping GERS, fish and prawn ponds, and other agriculture features to be able to measure the impact of what they were doing. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, all right, let's go through the checklist. Get USAID and local partners to identify the features and areas they want mapped. Okay, let's get some of the base data added with students from George Washington and other volunteer mappers. Okay, let's partner her with the University of Pune and organize this field training. Yep, all right, so we had all the pieces. I was on a flight to Dhaka. I think that was the first time I met Hassan Hoke in person, was on that trip. Hi, Hassan, if you're there. Everything seemed to be going well until we got into the field. And then, we realized the downsides of remote mapping. We had talked about how much the landscape changes from the dry season to the monsoon season. And at the time, I remember people talking about how it was a particularly dry year, which meant that the maps we created looked nothing like the landscape in front of us. The ponds we mapped just weren't there. There were big holes. The roads were appearing out of nowhere. The waterways were flowing in the opposite direction. Bangladesh is a hard place to map, especially in these ephemeral environments you have throughout the country. But despite these setbacks, the project was well received and ultimately led to this concept of working more directly with university students to create data in the places they live. And now look, there's 25 chapters in the country. Sawan, Amina, Rin, Maliha, I've been so lucky to work with and meet so many of you and see this community in Bangladesh grow into what it is today. I mean, look, you're hosting State of the Map Asia, running your own local events. This is a tremendous amount of work and shows how committed you are to bringing it all together. So with that, I guess, thank you for allowing me to be part of your events. Please keep doing what you're doing. And I look forward to seeing the progress that's made in the years to come. Thanks.